My name is Steve Liebmann. I'm the ambassador for the Get the Life You Love campaign, and I'm your MC. I want to introduce you now to 6 people with a story to tell, career stories that I think you'll find when you hear them demonstrate the need to be open-minded when you're thinking about what you're going to do with your life or the next stage of your life, and the need to be open to opportunity. The other part of their message is if you're going to achieve, you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to understand and appreciate what you're capable of doing and the skills you've got. And I love that message from Steve Jobs. If you're going to succeed, you've got to love doing what you do. Let me introduce these 6 young people. And would you come up to the stage and join me as I call you? Shannon Willoughby. Shannon is a senior columnist now with the Gold Coast Bulletin. Matthew McKenzie. Matthew is a chef, but there's much more to his story than just that. Tara-Mai Reilly. Tara-Mai is an electrician. Brooke Muir. Come and join us, Brooke. And Kinny. Brooke, incidentally, a teacher once said to her, there are 3 types of people in life. And Brooke will be lucky if she ends up working in a factory. Well, she was more than lucky. And Kinny. Anne is a senior law student at SCU. Libby Harward. Libby is creative director of the Gold Coast Drug Council's Inter-Urban Arts team. Would you make them feel welcome now? You're right. Yep. How about I sit in the middle? There we go. Shannon, can I start with you? As I said, you're a senior columnist with the Gold Coast Bulletin. You began your reporting career 10 years ago, am I right? At the Gold Coast Sun. You'll shortly become the chief reporter at the Gold Coast Bulletin. So tell us what role, let's start with what role hard work and persistence has played in your career.
I don't think you become a journalist without realising that it is a lot of hard work and unusual hours. It's not a 9 to 5 job, and I think it's that's sort of has led me to become chief reporter. It's not accepting that it's a 9 to 5 job. It's just not a Monday to Friday job. You can be on call all the time. So and persistence certainly in building contacts and persisting to constantly improve my writing and my ability to tell a story.
Did you incidentally always want to be a journo?
Yeah, I did. I actually used to watch the news and write down the top 10 news items. I remember doing that when I was in year 3. So it was a dream of mine to become a journalist in New York. I'm not quite in New York, but the Gold Coast is pretty good.
So tell me about things like attitude and willingness. A willingness to adapt and cope with change, and also I'm wondering whether in the course of your career path so far you've modified your goals in any way to get where you are now.
You've definitely got to have willingness and the ability to adapt to change as a journalist, because one day you could be interviewing the Prime Minister, the next day you could be out at a bushfire, the next day you're reporting on a financial crisis. 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now, I asked to join the business team thinking it would be long lunches and a bit of fun. And then 6 months later, the financial crisis happened and I had to learn a whole new world that was not familiar to me at all. I barely knew what the ASX was when I went in to report about business, and now I have provided some strong commentary through those 3 or 4 years.
If you could give one piece of advice to this audience this morning, one piece of advice or just a tip, a career tip, what would it be?
I think Steve Jobs has already said it. You really do have to find something that you love. You do work a lot of the week, so it's really important that you go to work every day and you want to be there and you enjoy the people that you work with and that you feel that you're doing a good thing for the community.
All right, now Matthew, it's you and me against the world here on this stage this morning. I mean, yours really, and thank you, Shannon, yours really is an extraordinary story. Tell these people about it.
Good morning, everybody. Taking back to the very early age of my life, growing up as a child, I'm not going to go too on with this, but I was a disadvantaged kid, underprivileged. We did live in a bit of poverty down in Victoria. The family struggled. I suffered from ADHD, which is a deficit hyperactive disorder, which it did have a lot of an effect on my behaviour, as well as me growing up as an adolescent kid in the local community. I did attend school. I did attend primary school and high school, but my last successful grade that I did complete was grade 6. I didn't complete high school. I was expelled 3 times. Moving on from that, I got mixed up with the wrong crowd of kids and I did drugs, alcohol, crime, all those shenanigans, which was not a very good thing to do, but at the time I didn't understand it.
Okay, so let's leap forward.
So taking a leap forward.
Jamie Oliver.
So at the age of 20, I was presented an opportunity. It was just a newspaper article, and in that article was Jamie Oliver was coming to Australia to open his new 15 Melbourne restaurant, and it was up to me to make a decision, make a choice, the choice which could change my life, also a risk that I could not get anywhere. And out of 28,000 people, I applied for the position and I made it to the final 25. I had to hitch from Queensland, or a one-way ticket, all the way to Melbourne, where I lived on the streets for 1 week during the application process. But I did make it into the program, and if I hadn't have made that choice and taken a small risk, then I wouldn't have known what the outcome would be. And I think life is all about a challenge, and when you're given an opportunity, you have to sort of put your hand out and consider all avenues.
So let me ask you, and I'm sure you have, in those quieter moments when you're not as busy as you are these days, do you ever say to yourself, where would I be today had it not been for Jamie Oliver?
I do. I think about my past life, and if I hadn't taken that opportunity, where I could be now. And I don't believe that the world would have came to an end for me. I would have found something that I was passionate about or fell into something. But on looking from the dark side of things, I could have been living on the streets and I could have, became an alcoholic. So I was very thankful to have an opportunity and to have that willingness and that I can attitude to pick myself up and take on a new challenge.
So just a couple of quick questions. How critical has goal setting been, and how important is it to listen to what other people might say to you?
Goal setting is extremely important. It's your ladder to life. It's your brick to your wall. It's not hard to create a goal. It can be as little as your first goal, just to get used to things, could be remembering to put the toothpaste lid on your toothpaste each morning. But they're critical because you have to have goals to succeed in life, and for the process and to work through your objectives and what you want to achieve at the end of your journey.
Okay. Now where's Tara-Mai? Tara-Mai, the electrician. Now that's for starters. Oh, you're right. I'll give that to you for a tick. Try this one. There we go.
Thank you.
We okay? So, you have travelled quite a career path to get to where you are today. But I'm wondering, because you are an electrician, how much tougher, how much harder is it for a young woman in the trades?
I think it's always been because it's trades are preconceived as being a male-dominated industry, especially being a younger girl as well. People don't expect you to live up to what the guys can do.
So you've had to try harder, work harder.
Oh, much. Well, yeah, most definitely. Especially trying to get into it. People won't give you a second look if you're not into it, you know. And especially being a girl.
So when you knock on the door and confront a prospective employer who's male, and you say, I'm here because I want it, that's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
How tough?
It's very tough. You don't know, they expect you to work the same as the guys. They don't know if you're going to rock up to work with your nails painted or makeup on, and if you do, are you here for the trade or are you here for the tradesman, you know? And you've got to try and set yourself aside from the typical girl picture, you know, and you have to make sure you hold yourself in a manner that's appropriate, I guess, to fit in with the males.
Do you have any regrets? Because, I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, and you don't have to tell me, but I do know that your career thus far has had ups and downs. So tell me about the good times and the bad times.
A lot of it is just trying to break into it to begin with, because, like I was saying before, it's very prejudiced against women. You know, they don't know what you can do. They don't know how you will act with the other guys. They don't know how a girl can hold under pressure. You know, they might crack, or they don't think you'll be able to live up to what the job is, you know, asking you to do. I have had numerous offers, and they've been taken away and given to me and then laid off for no work reasons. It's got a lot to do with just trying to fit in with everyone, I guess.
How do you handle the downside? How do you handle the downs in contrast to the ups?
I think it's an achievement in itself to be a woman in a working trade, you know, industry. So, you know, knowing that I had an apprenticeship and I may have got let down somewhere, I know that I have the ability and, you know, the strength to actually continue with it. Like, I've been there, you know.
So self-belief and confidence, important?
Most definitely, most definitely.
Would you, if you could turn the clock back, would you do it all again and do it the same way?
The same way, well, obviously going through it, you learn different things. You can pick up where you've gone wrong and do it something different. But in a whole, no. I went to a trade school where they, you know, school-based apprentices, and then, you know, you do your work on stuff to do with that, and that really helps, you know. You know what you want to do before you do it.
Would you encourage more women, including those in our audience this morning, to take the career path you have, to consider a trade?
I would say yes, but you have to know what you want to do. You can't go in it half-hearted, and you have to be very passionate about it, because you won't survive. They will rip you apart. They will.
Brooke, Muir. Now, you've been grinning all the way through. But let me just tell you, I mean, as I indicated when I asked Brooke to join us on stage, a teacher once told your mum, quote, "Brooke will be lucky if she ends up working in a factory." How did that comment affect you, A, and B, how did it affect you in the career choices you've made?
Well, I found that it significantly impacted on my ability of how I deal with people, how I establish my relationships with people, and how I treat people. I see people, everyone's the same. There's no person who's better or less than anyone else. And I guess it gave me this philosophy in life where it taught me that you can never underestimate anyone, that everyone has the same ability to strive for the same effort and you get basically what you put in to life, and I think that everyone should just be given the chance to have that ability to reach it to the top. And with my career choices, I guess it made me want to become something bigger than that, become something bigger than myself, and to know that, I guess, I didn't want to judge and say, okay, a factory worker is bad, but I thought, oh, well, maybe I can actually have a job and actually strive to go to uni and finish high school and then work in a job where I love going to every day, and not just a job that I'm working at going, oh.
So who gave you the chance?
Probably it was an English teacher in year 10, actually. I failed school all throughout, probably till year 10, and he showed an interest in how I could craft words, and he really encouraged me and said, hey, you can do this. And I think I got like my first B in English, and I thought, wow, I don't actually get Ds now. So I thought, wow, I like this feeling. I'm going to try again and get a better mark. And it was probably that teacher, and also a person at the Gold Coast Bulletin. She actually mentored my journalism ability, and it just went through from there. So I guess having those two people. That's
really important though, isn't it? Having someone that you can lean on, that you can go to for advice and guidance, having that mentor.
Oh, definitely. Like that, I guess they give you a grounding on which you can build up, and you build yourself from what they give you, those skills. And it's always good to just, I guess, see that person and say, okay, I want to be better than that. And you actually do grow and grow, and it's that conviction to yourself through that person showing you that belief. And you really need to believe in yourself, because you can do anything.
You can do anything. Important message. So then what drives you? And I'm wondering whether lurking in the recesses of your mind is that comment from that teacher, and a desire to prove, I don't know whether it was a him or a her, but to prove them wrong.
Well, initially it was to prove her wrong, and then I guess the more I've grown older, I've seen it as you don't live your life for other people. You don't, I guess, choose your career on what someone wants you to do, or you don't play for a team someone wants you to play, or you don't hang out with people because people want you to hang out with them. It's a choice that you live your life for you, and the career choices that you make, you need to make them for you, because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to go to bed and think, wow, I did this today. I feel really proud of myself.
How important, I mean, all of you on the stage this morning have talked about the risks. How important is it to take risks? I mean, you've heard what Shannon said. And how important is it to be flexible?
I think it's really important to take risks. I try to think to myself that I like to do something that feels uncomfortable for me every day, so I know I can continue to learn from that aspect. And I guess the more risk you take, the higher, I guess the more success you allow yourself to achieve, the more you allow yourself to learn about yourself, because you put yourself in that situation where you don't necessarily compromise who you are, but you know, you compromise your ability, and you think, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, and you really do, I guess, you show yourself. And with being flexible, I guess, I started out in journalism, and now I'm a child protection officer. I guess it's like Presto said, and you just fall into things that you're meant to, and everything happens for a reason. So just go with that flow and be flexible, and let that happen, and it will just flow beautifully.
And just finally, how important is it to never forget where you came from?
Oh, it's so important, because that's who you are, and you've got to be true to yourself. And at the end of the day, you can achieve all these accolades, and you can say, wow, a teacher told me this, and now I've gone to uni, or I've done this, but it's who you are inside. It's this feeling, and you can just be like, wow, this is who I am. I've built on this person. I've evolved. You don't necessarily change, but you become bigger than yourself, and it's the most amazing feeling in the world.
Terrific. Can I take that and give this to Anne? Now, Anne Kinny is a senior law student, but her career journey, she might have been comparing notes at one stage with Matthew, because her career journey is one from chef to law student. Anne, thank you for joining us. Pleasure. Chef by trade.
Yes, that's correct.
Now doing a Bachelor of Laws. Now that is, as I've said, quite a career change for someone who only completed Year 9.
That's correct.
So pick it up. Tell us.
Where do I start off? Well, I left school in Year 9 to become an apprentice chef, because I loved cooking. So I started cooking and became a head chef at the age of 19, and I loved the life I lived, absolutely loved it, didn't want to change anything, didn't want to go to uni, didn't want to study. Unfortunately, I got injured. I had a 10-kilo bucket of flour hit me on the head, so I lost all movement in the right side of my body. So it's taken me 10 years to recover from that injury. During that, I thought, what am I going to do with my life? Because I loved what I did. I didn't want to change. I was resistant. I was defiant. I thought, the only thing I can do now is study. So what options do I have? And I basically had always wanted to study law, but thought I was too stupid, wasn't smart enough, couldn't study because I'd never studied before. Chefing's very hands-on. So I took some steps and I did an academic study skills course, which gave me the skills and the confidence to go into university, and it got me into a law degree, along with my work experience from being a chef. So essentially it was a long internal search of what do I want to do with my life, where do I want to be, how do I want to live my life, and what do I want to leave behind at the end of the day. And I realised that chefing, as much as I did love it, didn't actually fulfil all those expectations that I had. So the loss of my first career was actually a blessing in disguise, because it gave me the skills and the insight into myself to look at what I really wanted to do with my life.
But that really brings us back again to those qualities we've already discussed. Dedication,
Yes.
persistence,
Yes.
motivation.
Without those...
And what about goal setting? How important has goal setting been?
It's really important to set your goals, but for me, I think it's really important to be realistic with your goals and set small incremental goals. So you can say in 30 years' time, I'd like to be this or do this or become this person. But then you need to ask yourself, well, how do I get there? What's my first step? And for me, the first step was, A, making a decision to go to uni and being happy with that decision, and that decision was mine. My second step was accepting the fact that I didn't have the skills to go to university, and actually having to go and do a class that taught me those skills. So each of my goals along the way weren't grand or had all these fantastic options behind them, but they were realistic in my world, and I was able to achieve those goals. And also too, when you do set your goals, don't be scared to change your timeline. So if you have a 5-year goal and you realise you can't reach that goal in 5 years, then change your timeline or change your strategic plan. Or drop your timeline. You realise you can actually reach your goal in 3 years instead of 5 years. Don't waste that 2 years. Go to your goal and then start with your next goal.
Were your decisions unilateral decisions, or were you getting advice from other people or going to other people for advice? I mean, there is a difference. People offer it, or you've got to go and seek it out.
Everyone is going to have advice for you, and it's not always the right advice. So you need to surround yourself with the right people and listen to the right people. Because as a chef going into law, everyone said, oh, you're going to become a money-hungry lawyer. And it was honestly nothing but negative, except for my family. And the one person that really gave me the confidence to go to law said, you don't have to be smart, you just have to read a lot. So I realised too that if you listen to all the dissenters, if you listen to the people that are going to put you down, you will never get anywhere. Surround yourself with the right people and ask the stupid questions to the right people. So for me...
Did you encounter many dissenters? People who...
98%.
People who put you down?
98%,
Is that right?
I would say, were dissenters, yeah.
I can hear you saying the same thing.
Oh, but it's good too. They make you become resilient, and you want to. They give you motivation.
Exactly.
They give you hunger.
I have an attitude now that it's a bit like Cartman from South Park, and I say I'll do what I want. So if you tell me not to do something, I will assess that, and whether it's a calculated risk or not. I think if you're going to take risks, be calculated and think them through and be logical about them. But the more people that tell you no, it's more fodder to my fire. Bring it on.
Just one final question. How much do you learn by the mistakes you make along the way?
Every mistake you make has something that you can learn from it, whether it's something that you think, oh my God, I'm never going to do that again, or if you actually learn to move forward and think, well, why did I act that way? Why did I react that way? how did I end up making such a mistake? So don't ever regret your mistakes. Don't ever look at them as failure. You look at them as something you can take away from them. So if you're getting distinctions the whole way through and you get a pass, it's not failure, it's not a mistake because you haven't put enough study in. Unless you actually haven't put enough study in, then that's a mistake that you need to learn from, study more. But everything you do, I've had 10 years of what I would call mild hell, of losing one career and losing absolutely everything I loved, losing my independence, my income, my disposable income, and now going to being a student with no money. Follow it through.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time. I'd like you now to meet Libby Harward. Libby's the creative director of the Gold Coast Drug Council's Interurban Arts team. And you're sort of last cab off the rank this morning. And I'm wondering how familiar these stories have been as you've been listening.
Is this working? Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I've heard so much and I'm just reflecting so much. It's, I guess my story, I didn't have very much confidence coming out of school at all in myself, and I had to make some really big mistakes in order to find myself, and I found myself through asking for help. I really needed significant help.
How hard was it to find help? How hard was it to identify the people you could go to and get an objective view to get some assistance?
It was hard. I didn't really have, that was one thing that I was hearing people say they had mentors when they were younger. I didn't really know. I didn't know how to grow up. I felt quite lost. And so I just sort of stumbled across people, and the people that made me feel good about myself and the people that had faith in me gave me little pieces of the picture. And eventually I found some really amazing mentors, and hearing people's stories today has made me realise that what I'm actually doing in my work is mentoring other people, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it was a big hole in my life, and I love doing it for other people. It's really important to have help and support and understanding in your path.
Did you have to seek out people to give you that the advice you were looking for? Was that you had to do that more than them people coming to you?
It's a good question. Do I have to seek? Yes, but I also I sought people. Yes, I learnt where to go for the particular support that I needed. I needed to see counsellors at certain points in my lives, and then in my career I would seek people that knew more than me, that were a bit further along the path. I listened to my elders. And
did you know, as you're getting that advice, did you know it was the right advice? How did you know who to listen to, whose advice to accept, whose to discard, when to move on?
Very tricky question. Contemplating. I'm at a stage in my career and my life at the moment where I think it's really important to just wait and take time. I used to feel opportunities do come up every day, and I used to feel that I needed to take every single opportunity, and if I didn't take it, that I would fall over. But now I've learnt that opportunities are going to keep coming, and some of them will come around, and it's good to think and take time. Yes, jump at the opportunities, but don't live someone else's life, and find out. For me, I had to find out who I was, and everything that I do means something to me. If I don't like it, I'll think about it, and I'll think, is this a challenge that I need to take, or is this something that I need to leave and move on?
So tell us what you do now.
So I'm creative director of a program called Interurban Arts, and it works with young people, actually works with all people, but particularly focuses on young people going through a hard time who are experiencing disadvantage, don't fit in at school, and we do art, theatre, music and community programs with those young people. And I also work really with them and alongside them so that those young people can create their own programs and have a big say in what interurban arts is.
When you left school, did you have an inkling about what, if the cards all fell the right way, what you'd like to do with your life?
I'm an artist. It actually took me from school a long time to even say that I am an artist. To me, that was a really, I didn't think that I could say I was an artist because I was never good enough. But I always loved art. An interesting quick story about that is I actually ended up studying theatre. I didn't do theatre in high school because I was too shy for theatre. I didn't apply for theatre at uni. I applied for visual art and writing because I also have a love for that. But what I found, I thought theatre was about people that wanted to get out in front of the stage and be the centre of attention. But what I actually found is theatre is about people and it's about community, and I actually have really valuable skills with people. So I was surprised by that my path took theatre, and then that I see theatre as a spiritual thing and a community thing, and so my path led that way. But it wasn't a straight path at all, and my mistakes have, although I wouldn't recommend anyone make mistakes of choosing, the wrong crowd, drugs, alcohol, crime, but they have made me who I am. And when I speak to other young people who are going through hard times, they know that I've been there, and so therefore it makes me better at my job.
Terrific. Would you join me in thanking these young people this morning?